I still struggle and deal with anxiety for sure, and I still struggle and I deal with like things, and sometimes, but here's the great thing. This is the shit that like it makes me so happy, is like when I feel weird or I feel out of my body, I've learned to accept it, and I've learned what it really is. So anybody out there who's experiencing derealization, which is where you almost feel like separated from your body or out of your mind, or like you're a little person just watching, like, oh my God, did I really pick up that phone right now? It's almost like you're hyper analyzing the reality around you, which is crazy. I think first and foremost, it stems from stress. It is a form of anxiety. You're just overworked and you have too much going on. That's the biggest thing. But the thing that makes me so happy and excited is to realize, first and foremost, this feeling cannot hurt me. It does not hurt. It does not hurt me. It makes me feel weird. And any time where I would ever feel like, not faint, but like, oh my God, like I need to sit down or anything, that's just because I'm a fucking workaholic. And then you need to understand to separate the two. If you're in college or you're working or you're this, if you're overworking and you're having anxiety, if you're just having anxiety, like, oh my God, I'm jittery and I feel weird. And then you have the derealization feeling, oh my God, I feel out of my body, like I'm high or something, like this is fucking crazy. And then also you have the physical feeling of like, oh my God, I feel like I could faint at any moment, or it's just, you got too much going on. Like, it's just a real thing. Like, this is me working on films, a book, television stuff, like shit I can't even talk about, like being a husband, a father to my 2 little puppy dogs, like a friend, like an artist, doing meet and greets, meeting 100 people, a show for whatever. I did over 100 and damn near 30 shows last year, like crazy. Like you're just going. And it's like, I'm really glad I did everything that I had to do to get to this point. But if I look back, I could have been smarter about it. But at the same time, I overworked so hard that now I'm reaping the success, but at a bit of a price because of what I've gone through. But I'm at the best place I've ever been mentally. And I'm happier than I've ever been. And this is gonna be a long one, like expressing all this. But like the feeling of anxiety is very hard and it affects everybody differently. I've noticed that when I eat properly, like literally eat like 3 times a day, and when I drink a whole bunch of water and I do my best to rest and give myself some time, I feel genuinely better. So literally, this is a good thing. The reason I'm wearing different clothes is because me and Nick talk so fucking much that we split this up into like 3 days, because we'll talk for like 8 hours and then I'm exhausted and I'm destroyed, So I told him the day after the first episode or video, I was like, I really need to relax. I need to I'm gonna take, because we were supposed to do 2 days in a row, and I was like, I really need to just chill. So old Bob would have been like, yeah, let's go. And I would have drained myself, and then I'd have felt weird and gone through this whole thing. But it's about learning and understanding. And yesterday was the first time I've had off in a really, really, really long time. And it was fun. Anxiety really comes down to you, your lifestyle and everything. But the biggest thing out there for anybody who's facing anxiety, and I love this because there's not a lot of people who really discuss this. There are a few people out there who talk about it, but it is not it's very taboo. And I have anxiety, and when I was touring the world for The Incredible True Story and selling out everywhere I went, and selling records and just being a fucking rap star, it was the worst year of my life. So I just bought my house, and I'm married, and I have my friends, and I have everything I could ever want financially. And for the most part, there's always more. But I'm good. I'm glad I don't want for anything that I may need, like food or this or that, which is a blessing. And it was the worst year of my life. And I was unhappy. But I was not unhappy with my life or my wife or my friends or this or that. I was unhappy with myself, this feeling of anxiety. My lifestyle, overworking, I felt trapped. I felt trapped by my fans, but not really, it was just in my head. I felt trapped by the industry, but not really, it was just in my head. I felt trapped because I needed to satisfy my fans. I needed to satisfy the label. I need to satisfy this. I need to satisfy myself. I need to satisfy my wife and my this and all this other shit. And it's like, no, I just need to satisfy me first. Make sure I'm okay first. It's like if you're underwater and you have an infant and you have air, and the infant's about to pass out, do you give them the air first, or you give yourself the air? You give yourself the air. Because if you pass out first, you're both dead. The infant can't do it for itself, so you gotta real quick, then give them that breath of life. So I had to make sure, and that's what I did. I took time, and I'm still taking time. See, I haven't like truly been like, all right, I'm taking a month, I'm going to India, like, or doing some crazy, like, for me, like, I haven't even done that, but it's a stepping stone, and it's because that's what happens when you build an empire. You can't just ghost. But there are times where you can be like, yo, I'm taking 4 days, like, fuck that, or I'm taking a week, or I'm taking this and that and whatever. And like, you know, after doing 100 and whatever shows last year, fans think like, oh, he was touring and he did all this, and you know, or people or whatever think like, oh, well, he's just been home. But no, as soon as I finally gave my wife a honeymoon, you know what I mean? I came back here and then built the studio and worked constantly until now. So this song, sorry, I know there's a lot. This song for me means so much because I rationalized the anxiety. So when you first listen to Lucy Rose, who I love, singing, I originally wrote that and sang that, and it's, you know, this is my life, this is my all, you know, right now I'm happy. So when you hear the whole intro part, it's just this beautiful, regardless of even what she's saying, it's just, oh, everything is great. And to me, Lucy Rose represents humanity's mind state. Okay, everything is good. There is a chemical balance that is perfect level. Right now I'm happy. But sometimes, and then it comes in, boom, I'm gonna get up in your mind right now. I love that shit. And I was listening to so much James Brown. Like, so I'm like, oh, I was listening to a lot of James Brown, a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers, like in that span of that week. I just bought my car, and every time I got in my car, I would play the Payback. So it's the big Payback. I was just like, I was just like, I don't know, I just felt like a badass, you know? I got my first car, I'm 26, so I'm driving, you know, I'm listening to James Brown all the time. So it's like, you know, I'm gonna get up in your mind right now, make you feel like down right now. I'm gonna make you pray to God, to the good old Lord for a sign right now. Good old Lord. And then, but then it's you hear me doing that, and this is kind of like the Anthony Kiedis, get up. And that's kind of like the, you know, I think it's Californication. It's like, get on top, like just that, get on top, down, you know, like that fun. So it's a mixture of like that and the get up, and just that whole vibe. And I love that. I'm gonna make it someday, somehow. So like when it switches, that's anxiety. I'm then rapping from the perspective of anxiety. So I'm like humanizing, and I'm humanizing the personification of a chemical imbalance in the brain. So I'm rapping from the perspective, I'm like going extra Inception. So now I'm not just rapping from the perspective of another person. In a sense, I'm rapping from the perspective of the chemical imbalance in another person's brain and explaining why it's crazy. So it's like the first half is a human brain, and then the second half is the chemical imbalance within the brain of another human being, which is essentially humanity. So it's like really cool. And I haven't even really said it like this before, but that's what it is, you know? So it's layers to this shit, dog. It's layers.
That's how we got to do this. So when people listen, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, it's real. Because you have the mission statement, but then there's like really like, what is it? I fucking hate anxiety. Feeling like shit, or like you're gonna die, or like everything's fucking crashing and burning around you, and like nobody likes that feeling. So what I try to do with anxiety is to say, like, even though we don't like how it makes us feel and it almost feels like an evil thing, I'm actually rapping from the perspective of anxiety, saying, I'm here to keep you human, and I'm here to make you appreciate life. Because if you walked around with the first half, right now I'm happy and life is fucking great, and ignorance, I don't think you would really appreciate and value life. There's a lot of people who walk around like that. There's a lot of people I know who walk around like that, and they're just like, everything's like, yeah, whatever, man, shit's cool. And you know what? To each his own. That's not wrong. You know, sometimes I envy that person, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I wish I didn't know the shit that I know on such a deep level, because if I just fucking play video games all day and like smoke pot and just fucking chill out, you know what I mean? Like, it's a real thing. But I think that's my curse, is knowing, needing, and feeding on so much information. And the more information I know, the more information can scare me. You know what I mean? It's more like,
carry that weight.
Yeah, the more you realize there's like nuclear missiles out by other countries or this or that, you're like, oh my God, we could die at any time. But then at the same time, when you think about the United States nuclear missile defense system, and then so it's just so much shit. So going into anxiety, I'm like, hey, I'm here to make you appreciate the times when I'm not here. So I'm gonna make it someday, somehow, what you're telling yourself, but you ain't focused on what's important, mentality, health. Everybody in the world only want one thing. What's that? Infinite power in a pocket full of wealth. It's like, I'm gonna bring it back to the basics. Nobody can erase it. People in the street going ape shit, battling depression, but nobody wanna face it. And then it goes, I'm gonna bring it back to the, I'm gonna get up, get on. That's what I've been on. Fucking with your mind, trying to turn shit on. But they want to paint me as a villain, even though I'm here to open their mind through the rhyme of life. So like, I'm like rapping as if I'm that, but it's like through the rhyme of life. I gotta open their mind and design the right time to make a decision to get in them like an incision. And then I forgot because I literally just wrote this a few months ago, and I haven't memorized it yet. To make a decision to get in them, they living, I'ma hit them and get them living. They wonder what I'm giving, I'ma never giving. I gotta let everybody know I'm in their mind right now. Make you feel like dying right now. I'm gonna make you pray to God, to the good old Lord for a sign right now, for a good old Lord. And then that's when it goes back into the, everybody wanna act like it doesn't exist. But the thing that I love at the very end of it is, but at the end of the day, like I remember somehow, some way. And then you have my buddy Chris Thornton from the Frontrunners who sings, everything will be okay. So it's like, that's the thing that I go through. And I talked to a psychotherapist when I was in the middle of like everything. I was on tour and I needed to talk to somebody. I thought I was, the term going crazy, it's a real thing. And like you drive yourself crazy, or like the person went crazy, they went mad. I was there. Like I was gonna fucking I was gonna be crazy. And I was like, I can't believe this. And I was like, because I was working myself to death and I was on tour.
Isn't it crazy to think that, I remember when we were talking originally about the anxiety, that something that's in your head can manifest itself into a physical feeling.
I feel like it's like superpowers.
Like, when we were first talking about it, you're like, it can't be anxiety. Like, I physically feel sick. Like, I physically feel like I'm gonna pass out. And then the more research you did, you're like, wow, like your mind, your thoughts can turn into something that's physically crippling. It could physically prevent you from moving. It could physically prevent you from doing so.
I also believe that there are things that are not there that we tell ourselves are there. So remember that sense of derealization. That was the worst thing for me, where I was fine. I really was all right, but I was waking up every day and I still feel it. Like there's days like, I felt it when because I was so exhausted on the other side of us doing this interview. I was like, kind of felt weird that day. And sometimes I just wake up and I feel weird, but I remember like, am I okay? I'm okay, I'm fine. So let me just step back for a second and realize that. But I feel like, whoa, I just feel a little like out of it today. And it's like, yeah, so what? Like, obviously chill, rest, do what you can. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, you're okay though. Yeah. Even though it's a scary feeling, and not a lot of people feel this feeling of derealization, but it's like, you are okay. So there's a time where weeks will go by and I don't think about it, and it's amazing. But the thing about derealization is you think about it all the time. So this is, all right, look, derealization, at least for me, is a state of mind. So it's something that people say they've had for weeks, months, years, and it doesn't go away. It's because they think about it every day, all the time. It's like, don't think about an elephant. Don't think about an elephant. You can think about an elephant. So when you're thinking like, oh my God, I feel out of it, you wake up and you go, oh shit, I feel weird. You wake up thinking about it. You go to sleep thinking about it. It's like something you truly obsess about.
It becomes you.
Yeah, it's a fucking illness. So like, once you stop doing that, and then if it does come back, you just realize, it can't hurt me. It doesn't hurt me. When you don't think about it, you don't realize it. That's the thing, and then you realize it and you're like, oh shit, that's right. But I'm just saying all this shit to essentially like let people know like, it's okay and it does get better as long as you allow it to get better. If you tell yourself, this is a real thing, do I feel weird? And then you overthink, you're gonna think about it. And like, the same can be said about positivity, because I told myself I was gonna be here and I was gonna do it, and I fucking did it. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna have fans, and I'm gonna be blessed, and I'm gonna work. It was hard, but I did it. But the biggest thing, man, everything comes down to mental state and to yourself. Obviously I explained the concept of the song, but like for me, it's like my life. So every record that you heard, every positive tweet that I tweeted, every fan I met, every time I hugged someone or visited someone or did this or that or whatever, every record I made on this album, I did it while feeling everything I explained in the speech at the end of that song. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is if I can make a whole album about God and Adam and reincarnation and producing and this and videos and tour and all this other shit while I'm feeling like I feel at the end, which I'm sure there's people who feel even fucking worse than that. But what I'm saying is, like, if I can do all that, you can do it. And imagine what you can do when you get healthier and you're not worried and you're not having to do all that while thinking, oh, do I feel weird or do I feel this? Like, imagine how efficient you're going to be able to be. It's really amazing.
It's crazy. It's like at the end of the day, we are the directors of our own movie and our own life. And it's like you can play into whatever aspect of it, or you can change it and be like, okay, I'm feeling this. And then you deconstruct why you're feeling that. But it's like, but I'm okay, it's not gonna hurt me. Or you can be like, I'm feeling this, what's gonna happen? Am I sick? Am I whatever? Depending on where you let your mind go.
It's knowledge.
It's knowledge, and it will affect your reality. It will physically affect your...
Totally.
But it's something that, I mean, I think for me in my life, there's certain people that kind of like help guide me when I'm in those points. Like my mom, for example. It's like, she'll help me deconstruct a little bit. So then in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, when something like this happens, I got to take a deep breath. I got to.
That's how it is with my wife, with you, with Lenny, and whenever I feel this, I'll call. I mean, you know what you said to me the other day? And this is a really great. It was like a few weeks ago, maybe a month. No, it was a while ago, but it was recent. Who gives a shit? Anyway, this is really good for fans and people watching this. And this whole thing could be one video in itself, man, because this is like really special. Last year, or almost a year and a half ago, or whenever it was, when I first started, that was like last year, we would go on walks. And you remember, I would walk all the time. The reason I would walk all the time is because I just didn't feel right sitting. I just had all these things and I needed to go walk. What is it? What do you think it is? Do you think I'm sick? Do you think this or that or blah, blah, blah? Did I get blood work done and shit?
Yep.
Yeah, I did, right? Yep. Yeah, when it all happened. And I got all this stuff and all this and it comes back and I'm fine and I just don't understand. And then you were like, man, do you remember that? When a year ago you didn't even know what it was and now you know what it is. It's anxiety, it's derealization, it's this and that, da, da, da. And I'm sure you can tell I feel so much better. So much better. And there are times still like, yo, when I got so much going on or this or that, it affects me. But the great thing is like, as long as you're taking steps, like where you are now and where you'll be in a year from now is like incredible. And even though I hate that I went through it, I'm gonna be honest, I hate that I went through it. I hate that it was something that, you know, instead of writing raps or where I literally physically felt so fucked up that I couldn't even rap or like go in the studio. I hate that even though I felt that way, I went through it because it really made me me. It made me able to, if I'd experienced anxiety, sure. I had like a panic attack or two, or, you know, when I was a kid, a teenager and shit, separation anxiety, little things like that. Nothing like this. And if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have been able to make this song. And that's a big deal, a song that will help millions of people. And it's not like, yeah, a song helping millions of people. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, like, I wish I had this fucking song when I was going through it. And it's really amazing. I will still say, though, I do envy ignorant people. I'm being serious. It's a real thing. It's like a gift and a curse because I'm very happy being knowledgeable of life and shit that goes on or whatever, but I'm also just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like even being where I'm from, like motherfuckers is always trying to like get you. So my eyes were always like watching, like motherfuckers trying to rob you or fight you or for no reason. You know, you're just going to 7-Eleven trying to buy a bag of fucking chips. Somebody wants to rob you. So I was always like, had my eyes open. I didn't have that way. I didn't have my eyes like that until I was like a teenager and went through shit, went through fights or, you know, getting jumped or whatever. It makes you think about shit more. So then like, I'd be like everywhere I went, whether it was movie theaters or this or that as a kid, and it really fucked me up. But like, I'd be like, oh shit. And then I'd be with like a friend of mine who's like, whatever, like they're not even thinking about it. But I'm like looking at this dude who's clocking me and this dude and this and that. And then like, but I know these dudes are like trying to fuck with me and I'm like, yo, let's go this way. And I like avoid shit. But like other people can walk around and see the world as just beautiful. You know, it's like living in a city where, you know, people will say, oh yeah, I've lived in Chicago all my life. I love it. It's amazing, right? And not to give Chicago a bad rap. I'm just saying, you know, it's known in certain areas for its crime, just like anywhere. But I'm just giving you an example. Chicago, because Chicago's such a beautiful fucking city that like some people live in Chicago, go to Chicago. Somebody could go there anywhere, New York, whatever, goes to visit it, gets robbed. Woman, somebody snatches her purse, scars her, fucks her up. not only fucks her up for the rest of her life where she goes places, but every time she goes to New York, not even maybe being possibly able to walk down that same street again because it's so much, you know, as opposed to somebody who could have gone to New York their whole life and never experienced anything like that. So I don't know, it's just bittersweet, but I'll be honest, I like knowledge.
And you've changed your life.
Yeah, it changed my life.
From my perspective, like there's so many things that I think would have caught up to you physically if that didn't happen, like the smoking and the the eating habits, and like did you just not really thinking about your body? Like before, like we used to have so many conversations about like you're putting so much stress on your body by the lifestyle that you live. I didn't think about it. But you weren't thinking about it.
I thought, you know why? Because I thought I was invincible. And when you're young, you think that. It's just a real thing. Like you really like, there's a lot of people watching this like, damn, I used to think that, or holy shit, I do think that. Or, and then just young people are like, what the fuck, I don't even know. Like literally this part, they're like, yeah, whatever. Like when I say invincible, like the fact that like, you're gonna die. Yeah, man. Like they're like, yeah, whatever. And it's like, no, like bro, like you're gonna die. And it's not even a horrible death or this or that. It's like just, you're gonna die. Like you gotta understand that. Like it's gonna happen. So like live your life.